weddings, right? First things first, we gotta stock up the old PBRs for the boys. Little fun fact, this is the first night since my children were born that it's just gonna be me and the wifey. So to say we're a little excited is, it's an understatement. Best thing about her is she's a cheap white wine drinker. Are you excited for the trip or?
Yeah, I have to pee. Not bad.
Favorite of mine. I'm back at home now. Excuse me, I just gotta rinse. Okay, so trip's done. Let's run downstairs. I gotta set everything up and then we'll talk about the camera. Let's go. Okay, oh, yikes. There we go. Purple, yellow, don't love it. Whatever, okay, oh, fuck. I actually wrote notes first time. Hopefully I don't ramble as much. Let's scoot over. Can't really tell. Whatever. Good enough. I'm not going to shoot an S-Log today because I realized I just don't really care about S-Log anymore. So let's just keep her at S Cinetone for now. Okay, finally. We are back in the basement. See, I bet you if I would have never showed you how gross my basement was, you would have thought I was in a nice little place, but alas, I'm not. So here we are in what I call the dungeon. And welcome to another video. Thank you all again for joining me. My name is Frank Tavalos, and I hope you enjoyed that little Banff sequence. It could have probably been a little bit more comprehensive, but it was the first time I've ever been without my kids and just the wifey. And so, you know, you have to build a little bit of time for leisure into your work schedule as it is. So the wedding in Banff was great, but we are here now to talk about another fucking Leica camera. And I'm sorry, I hope that this isn't the trend. I don't want to keep making videos just about Leica gear because I know it's kind of a niche product. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about the Leica. Oh, let me grab it actually. Where is it? Ah, shit, I got to go all the way upstairs. Hold on, let me grab it. Okay, sorry. had to set everything up. I only get a certain amount of time to film these videos when there's no crazy people in the house. So I apologize for being a little bit disorganized. Okay, this is the camera that I alluded to in my previous video. This is the camera that I sold my Leica MP and my Leica M6 for. It is, of course, the Leica M-A. And so I want to start by saying this is a very frivolous expense. There's a lot of people that make videos, including myself, of the classic debate, is Leica worth it? And I'm just going to kind of like tell you up front that realistically, no, it's not worth it. They're, you know, pared down cameras that have almost no features, and there isn't really a single Leica camera that I can think of regardless. Maybe the M2 or the M3, but other than that, I can't really think of a Leica camera that I could confidently say it's worth it. But I think that, like, for me and perhaps for other people, shooting a Leica camera is like as much of a hobby as it is like a business justifiable expense. For me, it's like my fun thing to do on the weekend. Yours might be, you know, going on an illustrious vacation. For me, mine is going for a walk, taking my Leica camera and making photos with it. It's almost like a hobby for me, trying out all these different cameras, seeing the differences, finding my niche, figuring out what I like. And I think I finally landed on it with the M-A, and there's a few reasons why that is. I'm going to do my best to quickly explain them because this isn't going to be a review video or anything like that. I just want to explain sort of my thought process in letting go of two of Leica's best cameras and just getting and staying with one of them. So the first reason is, ever since I sold my M2 a little over a year ago, I sold my M2 and my M6 to get the MP. I know this is craziness, but ever since I sold my M2, one of the things that I've really been kind of missing is that primitive shooting experience, meaning it's a fully mechanical camera, and there's just something about that experience and about learning how to use a fully mechanical camera, learning how to shoot without a light meter that I missed. And when I got the MP, that camera for me is like super fast. You know, it has a light meter so you can quickly dial in your exposure, blah blah blah. You know what I can say about that camera. I've already said it in previous videos. It's an amazing camera. I love the Leica MP. It's beautiful. But for me, I just really missed that sort of mechanical M2 experience, the challenge of shooting without a light meter. There's something about the fully mechanical experience that it speaks to me. Like, I have the Mamiya. I still don't know how to say it correctly. The Mamiya RB67 is fully mechanical. I could have got the RZ67, but I didn't want to because there's just something about a fully mechanical camera that it connects me to sort of a grounded experience that I really don't have because my life is extremely digital, you know? Like, I'm a freelance photographer that uses digital cameras and digital technology to do his job. And so getting to shoot a Leica that's fully mechanical, that is the opposite of your day-to-day existence, it just does something different to me, and I don't know how to articulate that properly. But that is the biggest reason why I switched to the M-A. I also, as you guys saw in my Leica MP video, I also like the design of this camera better than the MP, just the black paint. How it's black chrome, it's matte black. It just looks better to me. I like that there is no Leica engraving, even though I like the Leica engraving on the MP, and I like the red dot on the M6. It's just a personal preference. Honestly, that's all it is a personal preference that nobody else has to agree with because it's personal to me. You're gonna find things that you like over time, and it takes time. It might take some money. You might lose a little bit of money trying to figure it out, but eventually you're going to figure out the things that you like. And the longer you're in sort of photography and the longer you either work or you play in it, one thing you'll start to find is your own avenue of things that you like and things that you dislike. And for me, that avenue is the Leica M-A. It's also the M2. It's also the M3. The only reason I will say that I did not go for the M2 or the M3 in this instance is because, number one, I guess here, two reasons. Number one, at some point down the future, they're relatively cheap, so I would maybe be able to pick one up for a steal at some point in the future. That's kind of like, that's there, okay? But number two, and the main reason I think, is because this one has the 28mm frame lens, and I actually have been shooting a lot of 28mm with my kids, and I really like having the option of having that in the viewfinder and not having to have sort of another little accessory to be able to shoot 28mm. So that was like the main reason why I went for this. The other reason too, that's just like a side note, is this was a new M-A straight out of the box, brand spanking new. Warranty is something that I don't value as much with Leica M film cameras because they last forever anyways, and it's very rare that I feel like I would need to use the warranty of a Leica M film camera. It is a nice to have, but I don't know, there's just something about being the only owner of this camera, being able to pair it with my Tom-A rapid winder. It all aligned and made sense. And I had been thinking about getting a mechanical Leica again for a very long time, basically since I let go of my M2. And so that for me was like a really big reason why I decided to go the route that I went. Okay, so I want to just talk quickly, because again, this is not a review, but I want to talk quickly about like my first impressions, some things that I've noticed coming from the M6, the MP, the M2, and then just having one solo 35mm camera to shoot. Number one being that I have one camera versus four. So if I want to shoot 35mm, I'm taking this. And I found that when I had 2 or 3 cameras, it was like some of them just weren't getting used, or like they were all getting used sparingly because I was swapping between the 3. And for me, like, I want to try and get back to just having one camera to take all of my photos. And so that was kind of the first thing that I noticed was, you know, having one camera versus 3 just allows me to focus on making photos at the end of the day. The second thing I noticed for sure, and I didn't think that this was going to be like a thing, but I had read before I bought the M-A that the viewfinder was going to feel brighter because it doesn't have the light meter. And I didn't think that that was going to happen, but it definitely feels brighter. And I don't know, I don't think it has anything really necessarily to do with the viewfinder. I'm assuming the viewfinders are the same in the MP and the M-A. But when you put a light meter in it and you have those little red lights that shine into your light meter, optically, there's something that happens in your eyeballs that makes it a hazy experience, or I don't know exactly the difference between the two, but it's definitely less distracting in this viewfinder and it's seemingly brighter. And I don't know if that's because you have less to focus on when you're looking through the viewfinder, or if it's just brighter because it's brighter. I honestly don't know, but it is a thing. It's true. The M-A viewfinder is definitely brighter than the MP. You know, the MP viewfinder is still great, so I don't want you to really consider that when you're deciding between the two. The MP viewfinder is amazing and you'll have no complaints with it. But that is one thing that I noticed. And then finally, the last thing that I kind of noticed right off the bat, and I haven't even really put a roll through this camera. I'm on frame 32, so this is a first impressions, not a review. I'm not going to even speak on this camera yet. But one of the things that I noticed for sure is that it is prone to fingerprints. I have like a greasy skin, kind of, and sometimes I leave little grease marks on it. I know that's gross, but hey, we're here. This is a circle of trust. You know what's even more annoying is the fact that I don't know what to do about my greasy skin. Okay, all jokes aside, but not really, but all jokes aside, it shows imperfections more. And maybe that will be a good thing in the long run once I start beating this up. Like I said, it's brand new. So it looks so new that when you have a streak of fingerprints or head grease on it, it just kind of looks ugly. And I think that maybe if this was beat up more and a little more rugged, it would be cool. It would look awesome. Those are like the first at a glance impressions that I have of this camera. What I've learned from this journey, this over a year long journey of trying to figure out which camera is for me, is that at the end of the day, they're all for me and they're all great and they're all amazing. And you can't go wrong with any of them. And it's definitely, I would say that the Leica MP and the Leica M-A probably aren't worth the amount of money that it costs to buy one of them. I'm really making these videos for the people that are really trying to decide which Leica to settle on. And if you ask me, this is what I would do. If I were you, I don't have a single Leica. I would start exactly where I started. I would get the M3 or the M2, start there, shoot the shit out of that for as long as you can, and just enjoy that, learn how to shoot without a light meter, experience the best made Leicas of all time. The M2 and the M3 are some of the best made Leicas ever. That's why they've lasted over 60 years. Eventually you're going to want to try one of these out, and you're going to realize pretty quickly that there's not a whole lot of difference between this camera and any of those other cameras. And you might actually end up being like me and preferring a pared down M2 M3 M-A. I really think that like it's easy to lust after these cameras. I want every single one of them. They all make the same images at the end of the day, so that's not the thing you need to worry about at all. What you need to worry about is which one speaks to you, and sometimes you're not going to get that until you try them all. And the good thing about them is you can buy them and you can sell them, and you're pretty much not going to lose money. In fact, I've only ever, this is a true statement, I've only ever made money on Leica gear, and I've bought and sold a lot of it, and I've never lost a single cent on it. And so that is the one very positive thing about trying out Leica cameras. If you can't rent them, I don't even know if you can rent film Leicas. I honestly have no idea. In Canada, you definitely cannot. Go try it out, and if you don't like it, sell it for the same or more money than you bought it for, and try something else. And that's what I did, and that's how I landed here. That's my recommendations. This video has been fun. Thank you again for watching. I always appreciate your time. I hope you got something out of this video. If you like the Leica M-A and are thinking about buying it and have the funds for it, I would say 100% do it. But if you don't, get an M2. That's it. That's all. Again, thank you. And I'll see you in the next video with one more camera, and then we'll start to do some different shit. Okay. Thank you very much.